Too many people wait. They wait for motivation. They wait for clarity. They wait for the perfect plan, the ideal conditions, the right time. But that moment never comes. And David Goggins is here to remind us, stop waiting and start moving. You don't need a gym to change your life, just a floor and the will to drop down and do some push-ups. You don't need a trainer, you need shoes, discipline, and the courage to face your excuses. The truth is, we often hide behind the search for a why or a purpose because it gives us a reason to delay action. But real progress doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with motion. Goggins challenges us to grab life by the throat and start. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Once you begin moving, purpose will reveal itself. Action breeds clarity, action builds belief, and action breaks the cycle of self-doubt. You owe it to yourself in 2025 to stop overthinking and start doing. Start messy, start uncomfortable, start uncertain, but just start. The only thing between you and the life you want is the courage to take the first painful, imperfect step. The most important battle you will ever fight is the one inside your own mind. David Goggins exposes the brutal truth. Your brain has a governor, a survival mechanism designed to protect you from pain. It tells you to quit at 40%, long before your body is truly done. Most people listen to that voice and back off, never discovering what they're truly capable of. But if you want to grow, if you want to reach the next level, you have to override that limit. You must become the master of your mind, not its servant. That means entering the dark places, the uncomfortable zones, and staying there long enough for your eyes to adjust. The pain won't kill you. Avoidance will. Growth begins when you stop believing the lies your mind tells you and start pushing through the resistance. Control the mind, and you control everything. Every hardship you've endured wasn't just misfortune, it was training. David Goggins shares a powerful perspective. The abuse, the bullying, the isolation, the insecurity, all of it was preparation. Life didn't break you. It built the tools you now need. Most people see suffering as a setback, but Goggins teaches that struggle is the foundation for transformation. When you flip the narrative and stop asking why me, and start asking what is this shaping me to become, that's when the real growth begins. The pain you've experienced is not your weakness, it's your edge. It's what sets you apart. You weren't handed an easy life, and that's your advantage. The fight gave you grit. The failure gave you humility. The darkness taught you how to create your own light. You just have to stop running from it. Embrace your scars. Reframe your past. Your story is not over. It's just beginning, and you get to write the next chapter in bold. One of the most transformative lessons from the content is the concept of embracing vulnerability as a path to growth. Goggins emphasizes that true change begins when we confront our deepest flaws and stop pretending to be someone we're not. Instead of hiding behind pride or shame, he urges us to acknowledge the insecurities, lies, and mistakes that shaped us. This act of brutal honesty isn't weakness, it's courage. By facing the truth of who we are, we take back control from a mind that's been conditioned to avoid pain. It's through this self-examination that we begin the process of rebuilding our identity with integrity and purpose. Life may have handed us pain, but it's what we do with that pain that defines us. For anyone feeling stuck or lost, this message is clear. Healing starts when you stop running and start owning every part of your story. Most people quit at 40% of their true capacity. That's the powerful insight behind David Goggins' philosophy. The mind acts like a governor on a car. It limits us for the sake of comfort, not truth. When things get hard, your brain screams, stop. But that's not the end. It's the beginning. True growth begins when you override that mental limit and keep going. Pain, fear, discomfort, these are signals, not stop signs. If you can push through them, you enter a space very few ever reach. That's where confidence is built. That's where discipline is forged. Mastering your mind means recognizing when it's trying to protect you from discomfort and choosing growth instead. Every time you go just 5% further, to 45%, to 50%, you reclaim control, and over time you realize you were never limited by your body or circumstances, only by the stories your mind was telling you. So when you hit that wall, smile. It's your opportunity. That's where transformation lives. Keep going. Taking souls is David Goggins' metaphor for dominating adversity by flipping pain into power. In the darkest, coldest, and most brutal conditions, when everyone else is breaking down, you stand up, not just to survive, but to mentally defeat those who expect you to crumble. Goggins used this strategy during Navy SEAL Hell Week, rallying his exhausted boat crew to outwork and outlast every expectation, stunning even the instructors. Why? Because he knew that in suffering, most people fold. And that's where you can gain the psychological edge. When you perform with energy and intensity in moments of complete depletion, you take space in others' minds. You shake their belief about what's possible. It's not about arrogance, it's about relentless willpower. When you can dig deeper than others in chaos, you don't just survive. You lead, you inspire, and you rise. That's taking souls. True transformation begins not in comfort, but in darkness. David Goggins teaches that the mind always seeks safety. It's wired to avoid pain, fear, and the unknown. But greatness lives in the very places your mind tries to escape. When you're willing to enter the dark tunnel of suffering, fear, and self-doubt, and stay there long enough, your vision adjusts. You start to find strength where weakness once ruled. The pain becomes fuel, and the fear becomes a map. Goggins says your mind has a governor, like a car, cutting you off at 40% of your true potential. Most people quit when discomfort sets in, but if you push just 5% more, and then again, you start to override that mental limit. This is how champions are made, not by talent, but by mastering their mind in the midst of adversity. It's not about being fearless, but being willing to fight through fear, to confront the lies you tell yourself, and to keep going when every part of you says stop. In those moments, you reclaim power. That's when growth begins. That's when you meet the real you. David Goggins paints a powerful image. When you reach the end of your life, you might be handed a chart, a list of who you were meant to become. Navy SEAL, 185 pounds, mentally unstoppable. But what if you didn't live up to it? Goggins believes we all have the chance to outwork the chart, to exceed every expectation set for us, even by life itself. That chart may have said you'd only go so far, but you have the power to rewrite it with discipline, grit, and relentless self-honesty. The key is to stop living on the surface. Dive deep into your past. Face your fears, your trauma, your self-imposed limits. Life may have handed you a broken foundation, but Goggins argues that's not your fault. Fixing it is your responsibility. Every time you choose pain over comfort, growth over stagnation, you're building a legacy that even destiny didn't see coming. That's how you outwork the chart. As you begin to rise, to break free from the pit you once shared with others, don't be surprised when people try to pull you back down. David Goggins reminds us, the journey to becoming your best self is not just hard, it's lonely. The same people who once called you a friend may now see your growth as a threat, not because they hate you, but because your progress highlights their own stagnation. They'll mock your discipline, question your motives, and remind you of who you used to be. Not to help you, but to comfort themselves. But Goggins makes it clear, you owe no one your downfall. You weren't born to stay stuck in the hole. You were born to rise, to see more, to live wide open. That means ignoring the noise, staying focused, and embracing solitude as part of the climb. Growth demands separation, and the higher you go, the fewer people will understand your mission. Keep going anyway. Real transformation begins with brutal honesty. David Goggins emphasizes that you can't fix what you won't face. Most people hide from their flaws, their insecurities, lies, and regrets, hoping time or success will cover them up. But lasting change doesn't come from denial. It comes from the courage to confront yourself without filters. When Goggins hit rock bottom, he didn't escape through blame or excuses. He stood in front of the mirror, named every character and flaw, and admitted the truth to himself and others. That vulnerability became his power. Owning your imperfections isn't weakness. It's the foundation of strength. Because once you take full responsibility for your mess, you also claim full control to clean it up. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You become the one who does the saving. And that shift, from victim to warrior, is where real life begins. One of the most powerful takeaways from David Goggins' message is this: you are not broken beyond repair. You are simply untested beyond your current limits. Life isn't about waiting to find motivation, the perfect environment, or someone to rescue you. It's about realizing that your greatest power lies in your response to adversity. Goggins teaches us that suffering, struggle, and setbacks are not obstacles. They are invitations to become more. Whether you come from pain, poverty, or past failures, your background is not a life sentence. It's training. You don't need a gym to get started. You need a decision. You don't need approval. You need ownership. The key lesson is radical self-responsibility. Face your flaws, confront your excuses, and above all, learn to master your mind, because your brain will always try to protect you from discomfort. But greatness lives on the other side of discomfort. If you want to change your life, stop negotiating with weakness. Start showing up for yourself every day, especially when it's hard.